In this video, I'm going to continue our discussion on the square root function. So just to remind us again what the square root function looks like, the function is y equals the square root of x, and remember, this is the parent function of the general family of square root functions. And just to remind ourselves what it looks like, if I simply draw an xy plot right here, if I simply draw an xy plot, and then the square root function looks like it starts from the origin and then goes out in that direction, right? So this right here is y is equal to the square root of x. Now, what I kind of want to highlight is that this is actually, we can use this and use our knowledge of transformations to see how this would look like if I applied different transformations to it. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to apply reflections. So I'm going to just title this this slide applying reflections to the square root of x. All right. So let's say, for example, I do y equals negative square root of x. So what that is, like, how does that compare to the original function? Well, if you remember, since the negative is outside the function, that's going to be a reflection over the x-axis. So this is a reflection over the x-axis. So what this will look like is something like this, right there. So if I take this function and I reflect it over the x-axis, I'm going to get y is equal to negative square root of x. Oops, sorry, that went away. Apologies. So negative square root of x. Let's try a different reflection. So let me try one with red. So let's start, if I said y equals, and I put a negative inside the function. And so if you recall, when the negative is inside the function, that's a reflection over the y-axis. So if we're taking our original function and we're reflecting this over the y-axis, then it's going to look something like that. So that is y is equal to the square root of negative x. Obviously, the last combination is where the negative is both inside and outside. So let me write that here. So let's say y is equal to negative square root of negative x. And this is a reflection across both, because it's a reflection across the x, because the negative is on the outside, and it's a reflection across the y, because the negative is on the inside. So this is a reflection across x, and that's the ampersand, and y axes. And what's that going to look like? Well, that's right here. And that's simply going to be y is equal to negative square root of negative x. And there you go. So really what I want to demonstrate was our parent function looks like a simple square root of x. When the negative is on the outside, it's a reflection across the y-axis, the x-axis. When the negative is on the inside of the square root, it's a reflection across the y-axis. And when it's on both, it's a reflection across both the x, because then it would come here, this green one, and the y, and then it would flip here. So that's a reflection across both. All right, I'll see you in the next video where we actually go through non-parent functions and how we transform from parent to a non-parent function and what that looks like. I'll see you in the next video.